Like with inflation, there are going to be some problems with the unemployment statistics that are reported. So anytime you see them on the news, you do want to take them with a grain of salt because there are a few things that are going to be left out of the calculation. Remember, it's a very simple calculation. Just took a look at a few different categories, but there should be a little bit more complexity involved in order to get a true measure of both inflation and unemployment. Here with unemployment, we leave out a lot of different groups of people. So number one, it doesn't take into account the underemployed workers, those working part-time or seeking a better job. We can also define this as workers who are forced to take jobs that do not fully utilize their education, skills, or background. So here, a better definition of underemployed workers. Underemployed workers. And these underemployed workers, like the name implies, they are exactly underemployed. So workers who are forced to take jobs that do not fully utilize their education, skills or background. And these underemployed workers are an important category of workers that are left out of the unemployment statistics because they are actually counted as employed according to the employment statistics. So they have jobs, but they want better jobs. But the unemployment statistics don't really care about that. If you have a job, you are counted as employed. And underemployed workers, they do have jobs, but it's probably not the best job for them. So if you decide once you graduate college, you get your 4-year degree, and the only job that you're going to be able to take is, say, at a fast food restaurant as a server, or maybe an Uber or Lyft driver, or a barista, then you're going to go ahead and be considered to be underemployed. You're not fully utilizing your education, skills, or experiences that you've picked up while you were in college. So here, that's exactly a group of people that are left out in terms of the unemployment statistics. And this has the sort of direct effect of making the unemployment rate being understated than what is typically reported. Another group of people that are not going to be included under these unemployment statistics are the marginally attached workers, those who actively look for work in the past 12 months but not in the past 4 weeks. So we know that these workers want some type of job, but they haven't actively looked for work in the past month. And if this is going to be the case, remember that in order to be considered unemployed, you have to be actively looking for a job in the past 4 weeks. But these marginally attached workers, they've essentially just given up in the past month. They have looked for work in the past year, but it doesn't match up with the definition of unemployed according to the BLS statistics and data. So therefore, this group of people are never going to be included under the unemployment statistics for this particular reason. And once again, it's going to have the direct impact of understating the reported unemployment rate that the BLS gives us. And then finally here we have these discouraged workers, which are a group of people or a group of marginally attached workers, but more extreme. So the portion of marginally attached workers who have given up actively looking for work. So they get so frustrated with the job search that they just stop looking altogether. And these discouraged workers, once again, we know they want some type of job, but they haven't looked for jobs in the past month. Essentially, because they have stopped searching for jobs, they are now considered to be not in the labor force. And here, we want them to be included in the unemployment statistics, but it doesn't fit the definition of what the BLS classifies as unemployed workers. So here, these discouraged workers, they're more extreme versions of the marginally attached workers because they have actively given up looking for work. And we see a lot of these discouraged workers anytime there is a prolonged recession. So with all of this in mind, you do want to take any unemployment statistic that the BLS gives us, once again, with a grain of salt. You know that it's going to be underreported or understating the true unemployment rate because these workers are not going to be included in the employment and unemployment statistics. So if we actually go ahead and add in these groups of people into the unemployment and employment statistics, we actually get a true measure of what's happening within our economy. So you're going to notice a few different lines here in this statistic. So the BLS does provide unemployment statistics that include underemployed, discouraged, and other marginally attached workers, but it's not the main unemployment rate that they report because that's the one that's easiest to report to the average citizen like you and I. So this teal line that you see, the bottom line right here, is exactly the unemployment rate that they report. So you see here, it's always going to be the lowest number. So the U3, as they sort of call it, with our past financial recession, our unemployment rate was pretty close to 10%, but ever since then, it's been declining. So to that 3.5% that we referenced, and then if we carry this out into 2020 and so on beyond, we see a huge spike upwards because of the coronavirus, but then it's probably going to go down as a result of the country reopening. But it doesn't take into account all the other categories of workers that we want to be included. So when we add in these discouraged workers, add in the other marginally attached workers, add in part-time workers, our unemployment rate, our real unemployment rate should be going up, is going to go up. So while the unemployment rate technically was 10% during our past financial recession, once we include for all the other types of workers that we know want jobs but cannot be actually classified as unemployed, that unemployment rate easily shoots up to above 10%, goes up to 15, 16, 17%, just on these other categories of workers. So like before, you do want to take any type of these statistics and data with a grain of salt, because they can be manipulated to sort of push a certain viewpoint or push a certain type of storyline depending on what we want to see or what the news outlets want to sort of report. So you have a better idea. Just like with inflation, you just want to take it with a grain of salt. Make sure that you understand exactly what the news and what the BLS is reporting to you and exactly the calculations that go on behind it.